Okay, welcome back. My name's Greg, Soul Searching Guide Gene. That's me. Today's video, I just want to have a little talk about what I've learned over the past year of doing music on YouTube. It's been an interesting journey. For those of you who have been following me, you've probably heard a little bit of this, but I feel like I need to say some of it. I've been doing music for a really long time. I never really had the confidence to put it out there. I went I don't know, traditional route in life, and I got a decent paying job, which I worked at for 28 years while I sidelined my music, and it didn't really make me happy, though it did get me to the point where you see all of this stuff here where I was able to afford this and afford this lifestyle of being able to do music and focus on what I really wanted to do in life. I did have to sacrifice quite a bit to get here. And I would say so. So I'm in a new country. I'm in Japan. I've been here a little over a year and a half now, and starting over, I guess, in life. And like I said, with that past 28 years of sidelining my passions, it allowed me a little bit of freedom to explore who I really am. And it took a long time to get here. And I think if you can gain anything from this video, it's more about just yeah, don't wait. Definitely don't wait. It doesn't really matter where you're at. I could have done this much earlier, but I just really didn't have the confidence to tell you the truth. And this video is not going to be about how to get a million views, how to become famous. I really have none of those desires. I do enjoy gaining an audience, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I gained from this was finding a handful of I don't know if you call it loyal, but a handful of people that my music resonates with. And that was really something that I needed and didn't really know I needed. It was very helpful to get some comments from you guys, and it kind of just inspired me and gave me a little bit of confidence. And I would say that's probably the first thing that this all did. How I started was I just started putting my music out there and trying to do it live. A few of the videos that I did were things that I was doing in the DAW, but most of it was hardware based and in the moment. And it's something I've always wanted to do and kind of part of my process. I don't I kind of get tied up in DAW a little bit with all the possibilities. So I kind of always liked the hardware route. And when I was making music, I would basically just kind of bring the DAW up, hit record, and just start playing with some elements of hardware that I had, recording them, and then layering on top. But this was a little different because I kind of wanted to create everything in real time. And I didn't know if I could do it. And after a few months of uploading some music that I was creating that way, I gained a confidence that I didn't have before. And a lot of that came from the comments that you guys have given me. And just honestly, like liking some of the stuff that I was doing. Like I said, I was always very insecure about putting stuff out there. And I always, in my heart, I wouldn't have continued to do music if I thought that I was like really horrible at it. But I just didn't think that it was anything that other people would be interested in or resonate with. And there just came a point where I'm getting older in life. As you can tell, I'm kind of a little balding over here. Uh, and I just got to a point where I was like, you know what, I can't wait anymore. Like, I don't want to have regrets. And I owe it to myself to face my fears and put myself out there a little bit. And the confidence that I gained from that was immense. And so that led me on to, after a few months of posting music on YouTube and getting, some views, not a lot, and it wasn't that much of a big thing. It was more about the process of doing it for me, holding myself accountable. I gained a confidence that kind of put me on the path of wanting to perform live. Something I've done a bunch in the past with bands and on a drum set as a part of a band. Um, and I even at one point had a band that was just playing exclusively music that I wrote, which was great. It was amazing. And I was kind of like the band leader behind the drum set. It was kind of weird. But I always wanted to be able to do this solo on my own. Um, it's tricky when you have to rely on other people and sell them on your vision. And although I had some really, really amazing band members in that particular band I'm speaking of, things, well, things work out and don't work out. It happens. So I wanted to rely on myself. And in order to do that, I needed to gain the confidence. And that started with me just getting brave enough to actually start a YouTube channel, getting over the embarrassment and fear of like, oh, I'm in my 50s, what am I doing? People are going to laugh at me. So I would say the first thing would be you don't have to tell your friends. And I really haven't. To this day, there's only a handful of people from my past that actually even know that I'm doing this. And most of them just found me recently because I started a new Instagram page to kind of promote live shows that I was doing. And I liked a few of my wife's Instagram posts, and people found me that way. And I was like, oh, whoa. But that's okay. The point being is you can just start something new and you don't have to let anybody know what you're doing. And I would say it's probably better off because you will find the people that actually resonate with what you do. If you tell all your friends, hey, I'm doing this, hey, I'm doing that, they may not be interested in what you're doing. They may check it out for a minute, but it's really the people that resonate with your music that you want to connect with. And I've been blessed with finding quite a few of them, which is really amazing. Thank you so much. So, for one, yeah, it was terrifying starting a YouTube channel. It took me a couple months before I uploaded my first video. And in the beginning, I was doing other things. I was doing like, I don't know, Japanese content. I'm living in Japan now, and it was kind of like travel videos where I put music to, and it was fun. And I learned in that process, I learned how to film. Not that I'm really good at it or anything, but I learned how to edit video and stuff that I've done before, but I just got a lot better at it and with more current tools. Um, so then that turned me on to, like I said, once I gained a little bit of confidence and finally put myself out there, I decided I wanted to perform live, which was a goal of mine last year, which I'm really proud to say that I achieved. I did 3 shows in 2024. I think October, November, and December. And then I also did my last one January 7th of 2025. And since then, I don't have any shows booked, and that's great because I have to say, once I decided to do that, it brought on a whole bunch of other issues I had to face. That I really wasn't thinking about. I was just like, one day I was like, I want to just play. I just want to play live. I think that would be really cool. Something fun to do and a nice challenge for myself to get over the fear of putting myself in front of people. And in doing that, I had to learn how to do that. It's one thing to do videos on YouTube, and it's another thing to do it in front of people. So first, I really needed to learn my equipment much better, and I spent quite a few months doing that, diving deep, learning all different types of gear, figuring out what would work for me, what wouldn't, what was going to allow me to do the type of music that I wanted to do. And I don't want to say easy because it wasn't easy at all, but in a way that I could manage, in a way that it was something that I could handle and not feel limited by the equipment. And I went through quite a few iterations of different setups that I finally settled on what works for me, mainly Electron boxes and the inclusion of an iPad where I'm using AUM as a live performance mixer, and I get a lot of effects and also pull some sounds from it. I trigger some stuff from the Electron units in AUM. All that aside, there was a lot of learning that needed to happen in order to do that. And then I had to actually create the music. And it was really strange because shows kind of started. I got the opportunity to play much faster than I thought I would. And I felt a little bit behind the ball. So for the past, I don't know, a few months since beginning of October, I've been really busy trying to create music and practice and get good at being able to do this. And over the course of the four shows that I did do, the first couple I wasn't real comfortable with, though I did gain a lot of confidence in just having accomplished it. They weren't what I really wanted them to be or performed to the level that I wanted to perform at, but I definitely felt like I had grown. I had faced a huge fear of just putting myself out there. And even though what I did was not perfect, I was proud of myself because like I said, it was a really big fear to face. Just this whole thing has been an exercise in facing your fears. And pardon me, I've been a little sick the past couple weeks, which is one of the reasons you haven't seen me. Um, so the confidence that I gained from doing those shows really, and the knowledge of having to prepare and figure out how I was going to do that, it kind of propelled me in a big way. I found it much easier. I learned how to create templates and make it easy for me to, when I have things set up in a way now that I can literally sit down and most of the sounds that I use, everything's at my fingertips and I don't have to search for sounds. I have templates set up where I have all my favorite drum sounds, different samples I use, and it's just a matter of flavor on any given day. And I can just kind of sit down and turn my equipment on and create, which has been really, really nice. So that kind of brought me into the first of the year. And I decided to challenge myself. I said, you know what, I'm going to try doing January, where I create a track every day. And at first, I was super insecure about that. I was like, oh, I don't want to tell people I'm going to commit to that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I can do it. And and I did pretty good, man. For the first, I would say I started a couple days before January 1st. I was making like a track a day the last couple days of December. And I went until January 18th. Missed one day, which was a day, January 7th, where I actually did a show that day. And that was all that I was concerned about pulling off that day. But other than that, I did do a track every day. And I felt very good about what I was putting out. I went in a lot of different directions. And what that taught me was that once you understand your equipment and you have things set up in a way that works for you, it's kind of natural and easy just to create, and it feels really, really nice. I did stop after January 18th, because honestly, in the beginning, I really just, it was a challenge for myself to see how far I could push myself. I wanted to start the year out strong. I wanted to start the year out with like a little bit of a win for me, like confidence, like, okay, you're capable of doing this, to make me maybe feel a little bit more legit. And I don't even know if, well, that kind of brings other things up. So as I got into it, I got to a point where actually on the last piece of music I did on January 18th, the reason I stopped was it felt very forced. Um, it was the one time where I really just, I felt pressured to have to make something to live up to some stupid standard of like, oh, I have to do this because my subscribers, blah, 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 people will be expecting it. I can't let them down. And really, that's not why I started the whole thing. And I mean, it was really just a test for myself. And when I got to the point when I realized that, like, okay, now you're the last piece that I put out, I didn't feel great about it. It was okay, but it definitely felt forced and rushed. And that's when I had to, like, it just left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, okay, wait a minute. You really need to think about why you're doing this. Who are you doing it for? And like, what are you getting out of it? And like I said, I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to gain this huge following. This whole process has been about pushing myself and just gaining confidence and believing in myself a little bit more. And when I realized that I was kind of getting tired and needed a break, and was when it started to feel forced, I was just like, okay, let's take a day or two off and relax and just chill out. And then that time I started to really, it was nice. I needed it for one. I really started to question why why I was feeling obligated, um, what my motivations were, how honest I was being with myself. Because one thing I realize is it's really strange, man. When I do videos like this and just talk to the camera, and that really doesn't have much to do with music other than the philosophy or whatever behind it, I get a lot more views, and it's kind of strange. Not that that's something that I really am chasing after, because I'm not. But it is a little frustrating when you put a lot of effort and music and work into creating something, and just a handful of people watch it. Though those handful of people that watch it, I'm so grateful, and they give you great feedback. And that is really honestly what I came to matters the most. It's about finding people that what you do resonates with, and hopefully you can inspire some of them to do the same for themselves. And not necessarily, yeah, I don't know. I'm just not big into, like, creating the perfect thumbnail or the title, or it's just not something I'm interested in. I just wanted to do this whole process because I like to make music and I felt the need to share. So it was definitely a realization that I came to in taking a step back and having to kind of reassess why I was kind of pushing myself for this January challenge of doing music every day. And I realized that I kind of go through creatively like cycles. I've Even though I haven't been posting music for ever on YouTube for many, many years, I didn't share my music. Every year I would go through cycles of like a month or two where almost daily I would make a bunch of music. I would do 2 to 3 albums, CDs, whatever, collections of music, hours worth of music every year. And I just never really shared it. But it would come in spurts. And then I would take a month or two off, sometimes 3 or 4, and not even turn my equipment on. And it was literally about when I felt inspired to do it. And I just realized that things kind of go in cycles, and not to honor that, when you feel you need a break, to take a break. And I definitely had been pushing myself in this whole process pretty hard since, I would say, June or July of 2024. I've been pretty hardcore about learning new things, creating as much as I can create, getting out to see shows, trying to make my way into the music community. And it's been amazing. I've come so far in a year. It's really amazing. But at the same time, I really haven't taken a lot of time off. So I found it pretty hard to get back on the wagon. After a day or two, I just found I was like incredibly unmotivated to write anything. And it took me a few more days. First, I felt guilty about that for a minute. And it took a couple days to realize that, it's okay, just honor that and just rest. And then I got sick. I got this kind of wicked flu or cold. I don't know. You can see them all bundled up here. It's kind of a little cold where I'm at in Japan at the moment. It's taken me a couple weeks to get over it. And in a way, it was kind of a blessing because I think I would have felt a little guilty not creating things if I wasn't feeling under the weather. But being sick was kind of like my body's way of saying, you know what, you need to slow down and you need to rest and recuperate, live a little bit in between. Music's not going anywhere. Your YouTube channel's not going anywhere. You will get back when you're ready. And yeah, I think that was a pretty big lesson for me to learn that like I owe it to myself to do the best that I can, but at the same time, I also owe it to myself to honor what I'm feeling. And if you're not inspired, it's okay. You don't have to write music every day to feel legitimate. It's not going anywhere. I think about it every day. I mess around with stuff every day. I just haven't had the desire to actually put the camera up and actually record some stuff. I will be getting back to that soon. I'm just hoping to get over this cold that I've had so I can kind of really just feel 100% and kind of focus in on things. So I know I ramble all the time a little bit, but you all know me. That's who I am. And it's all stream of consciousness. I would say the biggest thing about I'm trying to get across is doing YouTube really propelled me forward so much in such a short period of time, even though it seems like a short period of time. It was almost a year that I've been doing this, but I am such a different person than I was a year ago. The confidence that I've gained in putting myself out there, in finding a community, in performing, that was huge, something I want to do a lot more of. It's been invaluable to me. I'm a whole different person than I was a year ago. The confidence that I have now, I know I have a lot more to go to be to where I want to be, but I don't think I'll ever really achieve that. I think that's kind of once I get to where I want to be, what's the sense in doing it? I've already achieved it. It's all about the process of doing it and growing. And so I've kind of learned to accept where I'm at and that it's okay to always want to be better. And there's always, you can get better on the next piece that you work on. And each piece that I do, it kind of sparks me to like, okay, let me learn a little bit more about how to do this on the equipment or how I can achieve this type of sound. And I really am not stuck into any one genre. That's the other thing. I'm letting myself go all over the place. Whatever I'm feeling, I'm doing. I'm just trying not to put myself in a box. I just want to be creative and share that with people. And one of the biggest things I've really gained from this is the fact that I've seen that in some ways I've seemed to have inspired some of you, which is really nice. And that was, I would say, aside from inspiring myself, it's kind of given me a bit of a purpose for doing this. It's as a bedroom producer for so many years, someone who was a little insecure about producing or sharing, I will say, it's really nice to see that other people are like, hey, dude, watching you, I think I can do this too. And you kind of make me a little motivated to kind of push myself. And if you only inspire one person, that's amazing. I mean, the feeling that I get from some of the comments, pardon my voice, it that's given me the strength to really push myself, and I love it. I wouldn't trade that for the world. And if that's all I ever get out of this, that is more than enough, much more than enough. I'm doing this for myself, and the fact that it can actually inspire some of you to want to pour that attention onto yourself, attention that you deserve. It's really, it's nice. It feels great. It really feels good. So, yeah, there's lots of learning. You're never going to be satisfied. It's always a process, but I definitely have gained a self-acceptance to be like, it's okay to be where you are when you're there. And just to put the stuff out there, you're going to get better. I did have to deal with, of course, on social media, you get some of those little snarky people that say some weird stuff. And that was something that was tricky for me to deal with. It definitely tested my patience, confidence. But in the end, I can't really fault people for that because back in the day, I was one of those people. I was just like, blah, 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 blah. It's just easy. It's easy to judge others and to spew negativity. And it's much more productive to actually be constructive and say something nice to somebody and see yourself in them. And it doesn't really matter where you're at, whether you think you're good, it doesn't matter. It just matters that you're trying and that you have the confidence to share and share your process with others, because I think that's a lot of what we see on YouTube is very polished, and that's not the way the world is, man. Everybody who you're seeing that's like looks like they got their shit all together, man, it took them years to get there. And you don't know what they had to go through to get there. So I would say, yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be discouraged by the haters. There's hate in the world. Just what matters is how you respond and how you try to encourage. I make it an active part of my YouTube practice to check out other people, subscribers, and other people doing the same type thing I am, and try to encourage them. And I gain a lot of motivation, mainly from them. I don't listen to popular music. I don't listen to a lot of music other than people doing what I'm doing on YouTube, and I gain a lot of my inspiration, if not all, from them. My voice is really giving out. So I think that's about enough for today. I just wanted to kind of get on and say thank you, let you know why I haven't been around for the past few weeks. I'm not giving up. I just needed a serious break. Needed to get my health back, needed to find some balance. Haven't been studying my Japanese the way I need to, and I really needed to focus on some other areas of my life just to feel good about getting up and spending the majority of my day doing music. So treat yourself nice, do some music for yourself, share it with some people. You'd be surprised what you can gain from it. All right, y'all. I will just an update maybe on what I'm up to next. I do want to look for some more shows. I'm not really rushing to get any in the next month or two, though I would never say no to an opportunity. I do want to create all new music. I want to create a couple sets that I can rely on for different types of settings, and at the same time continue to put some stuff out on YouTube. I would love to do some tutorials of all the things I've learned along the way, but I feel a little insecure about that because I'm not perfect at that stuff, and there are a lot of gaps in my knowledge. I can show you things that I have learned, but there are people that are much better at that. Though I do feel eventually I will probably get into a little bit more of that because I think it's nice to kind of give back some of that knowledge, because a lot of the things I've learned from watching people. Um, just share what they've learned and little tips and tricks. So I would say that's probably going to be the next year for me, is just really kind of honing in on a style that I want to do. And I really don't know what that is yet because, like I said, I'm all over the place. Creating a few live sets that I'm good at that I still want to have one show that I can record that I feel really good about, that I can kind of use as like a reel to be like, here you go. This is this is what I do. This is what I want to do. If you give me a show, it'll sound like this. Um, my first few I didn't feel too comfortable with. I had technical difficulties on my third. And my last one, which I felt really good about, I got great video, but stupid me turned my microphone off on my camera and didn't hit record in AUM. So I have beautiful video footage of it, but I don't have any audio recording, which is just dumb, just me being a little bit rushed. So I kind of want to take my time a little bit, enjoy the process some more, continue to learn, and not feel forced to have to pump stuff out. January taught me taught me that pretty well. Just to take it at your own pace and just to feel good about what you're doing and post when you feel the need to. In the end, this is all something that we should be doing for ourselves, not for accolades or I don't know if you're trying to make money or try to get rich or famous. Don't follow me, man, because I'm not going to show you how to do that. This is not what it's about for me. Um, but you can really, for yourself spiritually, personally, you can gain a lot from just putting yourself out there and having the courage to face your fears, and it'll help you grow. All right, enough rambling. Talk to you soon. I love you, and see you on the next one.